This is a behind the scenes look at us filming a promotional video for some Christmas themed activities. I'll just talk through our process here a little bit and end with a couple of notes on what we learned from this shoot while this time lapse is running. What we're filming here is the narration that is interlaced into the final video. We had a lot of fun making it. The narrators were fantastic to work with, and the other folks we work with were just a really great crew. A lot of prep work went into this. We did not write the scripts, we just filmed and edited the final version. The end product had some B roll and photos illustrating the activities the narrators were talking about. Some of the B roll was filmed by us previously, and some of the photos were provided by others. I'll roll the final product at the end so you can just kind of see what we came up with. Before getting to the set, we created a schedule and just estimated how much time we thought we would need in total, as well as how long we would need each narrator to be on the set. This schedule came in really handy. We had a very limited time we could film at this location, as well as the narrators had to plan around their life and daily activities. So this came in very handy when communicating just expectations for when someone needed to arrive and when they should expect to be done. And as the time lapse is running, you'll see the narrators arrive and then leave, just based on the schedule. And we were able to stick to the schedule very well. We've done this with most of our shoots where other people are involved outside of just Marcus, Mia, and I. So we've gotten pretty good at estimating how much time we need. And it just helps to set expectations. I'll put a link in the description for a Google Doc we typically use to create shot lists and schedules and such. So this was a simple setup with 3 lights, as you can see here, and 2 cameras. You saw us setting up the lights at first. We used one overhead hair light and then 2 lights at about 45-degree angle to the subject. One camera was stationary in front of the narrator. You can't really see it here because it's hidden behind one of the lights. And but you can see the second camera just between one of the lights and the narrator, where Marcus is just trucking on a gimbal from left to right and right to left. We chose to use the second camera this way to just add a bit of interest and motion to the shot that otherwise would have been just very stationary. A couple notes on what we learned from this and how I think we can do it better next time. You may notice that when we started, it was daylight outside, and as we progress, it gets darker. So we didn't really account for this when planning the timing, and honestly, it probably would not have mattered in this situation anyway because of the time limitations we had to work with. But more importantly, we were thinking that since we are inside, we don't need to worry about where the sun is at. So when we did notice this on the set, we did adjust the in-camera color temperature to account for the light change. And of course, ended up doing some color correction later in post to make the shots match a bit better. So not really a big deal for this shoot, but just something to keep in mind for us in the future to just check the outside ambient light conditions and adjust as needed, even if you're inside. Another thing was we chose not to use a teleprompter during this shoot. This was a conscious decision because all 3 of the narrators were doing this type of talking into the camera thing for the very first time. And just to keep things simple, we did not want to introduce yet another variable. But in hindsight, we probably should have at least brought the teleprompter with us to the set, because even though all 3 of the narrators did a really good job trying to memorize their lines, it was still kind of stressful for them. And had we used a teleprompter, I think it would have reduced their anxiety a bit. But more importantly, for the visuals, you'll notice that they're looking off the camera just a bit at times, and that's because we had the cue cards up when they forgot their lines. So whenever they forgot the next word, they would just quickly glance off the camera. And again, this was not their fault. It was our responsibility to make every effort possible to capture great visuals. It's always best when doing in an interview or this type of narration to just be consistent, whether the person looks into the camera or just slightly off the camera. But it ended up being a bit of a mixed bag here. In the end, we did some fast cuts and used the second angle in post. So for a regular viewer, they probably won't even notice it too much, or may not notice it at all. But just looks a bit off and unprofessional. The last thing I wanted to mention is light glare off the glasses. We should have done a better job at positioning the camera, the narrator, and the light such that we don't catch the light reflecting off their glasses. Again, not something the narrators did wrong. We should have either positioned the lights in such a way, or should have at least told the narrators to not turn their heads at a specific angle so we could avoid that type of situation. So I'll leave it that for now. Overall, the client loved the end product. We had a really good time working with the people involved in this. And I'll just roll the end product here for you. And I hope this was helpful. And we'll see you in the next one.
What is Christmas really supposed to be all about? What if Christmas is about more than the gifts that we receive and the parties that we go to and the decorations that we put up? What if Christmas is really all about giving? What if Christmas is about taking the focus off of ourselves and putting it onto others in an effort to bless them, and in doing so, point them to Jesus? The ultimate giver come to us in the first Christmas.
And that's why we do Advent Lights. Advent Lights allows us to provide a variety of opportunities for our members and friends to serve others in the name of Christ during the Christmas season.
So let me tell you about some of the ways we did that.
Through Operation Christmas Child, we get the great opportunity to buy gifts and goodies for kids, pack them up and send them around the world, all with the goal of showing the love of Jesus to everyone.
And when we partner with City Covenant Church and spend a morning packing Thanksgiving baskets and loading them in cars for families in Detroit, how amazing it was knowing the body of Christ was helping serve hundreds of families that were going to be able to share in healthy and satisfying meals.
We helped serve Thanksgiving breakfast to our friends at Life Challenge. While realizing that some of these men and women just need to know that they're cared for.
Our Kingdom Cookie Elves had so much fun baking tons of cookies and taking them to shut-ins, first responders, and our neighbors. Treats are how we show people how much we love them, and maybe we kept a few.
While you may not know this, every one of our carolers would qualify for the finals at American Idol. But instead, for the Christmas season, they devoted themselves to singing in nursing homes and bringing music to the homes of some of our older members.
When you and I join together, we can do so much more than by ourselves, like for Angel Tree. So many people and families in our church provided Christmas gifts to children on behalf of incarcerated parents who are unable to do so themselves. And how incredible that we can help change a complete stranger's impoverished situation in the midst of disaster, like we do when we bring in our change for Covenant World Relief.
Sometimes showing the love of Christ doesn't necessarily involve opening your wallet. It may simply involve opening your homes to our Japanese friends, for example, having dinner and sharing dessert and great conversation.
Maybe this year, you too can be inspired to change the community and world around you. We love to see you with us next time.